Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, we're going to be doing a mid-year check-in. We're going to be going over all of my stats so far of 2024. I'm going to be talking kind of briefly about my 5-star and 4-star books. And those are, my 4-star are like between 4 and 4.75. So anything in the 4-star range, what those top 5 books are. So I have top 5 stars because I have multiple 5 stars in 2024, and then my top 5 4-star books. So I'm going to be talking about those books really quickly, kind of recapping my reading, my highlights of 2024. And then we're going to be going in talking about some of the books that I'm really excited to read on the second half of 2024. So that's what we're going to be doing. So if you would be interested to kind of hear about my reading journey so far in 2024 and what it's going to look like, hopefully, in the rest of the year, then go ahead and keep watching. So you're going to see me glance at my phone. I use Notion, if you were unaware. I love Notion, and so I have a lot of my notes and books and my reading list, my book score. I have, actually, if you would be interested, I created a book rating scale and a book log on my Notion. If you would like me to kind of go over that, let me know down below. I have a way that I've developed that allows me to kind of figure out what my rating is, because I don't know if anybody else is like this, but when I read a book, I will immediately be like, 5-star. Loved it, amazing. And then as soon as I put it on my bookshelf, I second guess myself, and I don't really think it was a 5-star book, or vice versa. I was like, this is a 3-star, this is horrible. But then I think about it, I'm like, wait, was it really a 3-star? Was I just in a mood when I was thinking about my rating scale? So I created kind of a mathematical way to spit out what the score should be. And then I use that as a basis to either round up, round down, maybe I completely disagree with what the rating is, and I will go ahead and revert to what I think the rating is. So if you'd be interested, let me know down below, and I can kind of walk through how I did that. It's based off of 3 criteria, and there's 5 scores within each criteria, and they're weighted. I have more emphasis on 2 of them, and then the last criteria I don't put as much emphasis in. So I have different things. So if you'd be interested, let me know down below, and I will happily go over that, and maybe that will help others try to figure out what their rating scale should be. So let me know down below, and I can definitely show you my Notion reading score spreadsheet. So back to what I was saying. I'm going into my Notion really quickly because I need to have my notes, and then I'm also going to be going into Storygraph because that is where I track all of my books, what I rate them, all of everything and above. Storygraph. So Storygraph and Notion are my go-to reading platforms that helps manage my reading journey. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be talking about is my stats. And for my stats, I'm going to go to Storygraph, and I'll put on the screen kind of what I'm talking about so you can see it. But from Storygraph, going to my stats, so far, today is July the 30th, so almost the very end of July. And so far, I have read 76 books. My goal is 120, so I am 63% of the way through with my goal. So I am definitely on track to meet my goal for this year. And of the 76 books, that equates to 31,753 pages. I also have listened, and this is a little off because there are some books that I listened on audio that I did not track on Storygraph as a audio book. I tracked it as a physical book or a digital book. But the books that I did 100% audio on, I listened to 21.83 hours. My average time to finish a book is 4 days. And of those 76 books, I have only given 72 reviews to, because there were some that were DNF. So I had 4 DNF so far in 2024. I have 9 5 stars so far. I have 8 4.75 star. I have 12 4.5 star books, 5 4.25 star books, and I have 12 4-star books. So, and I'm very impressed. I am very excited because this year I bumped up my school, my goal for the reading year. I believe last year I had my goal was like, I want to say 75 books, and it ended up reading like 109. And so this year, because I wanted to challenge myself a little bit, I decided I wanted to try to read 120 books. And I must say, I did not expect to be so far into the year and have read so many of those books. So I did not think I was going to hit my 120 book goal, just because I work full time. I have 2 kids. I have things that go on. Both of my kids have like gymnastics and appointments and things like that. So I just really didn't think I was going to have enough time to actually meet that 120 book goal. But it looks like I'm going to. So if all goes the way it has been going for the first half of the year into the second half, I should definitely be able to meet my goal. And I'm super excited about that. So that is my stats for 2024 so far as of July the 30th. Okay, so now we're going to talk about my favorite books so far in 2024. These are the books that I read that I just absolutely loved. I have 5 books that I can have rated as 5-star. And then I have 5 books that are like my top 5 that ranged between 4-star all the way to 4.75. So I have 5 books that I've kind of highlighted that fall within that bucket. So we're going to start with the 5-star books first. And I started off the year so strong, and I decided in 2024, this was my year that I was going to read another Sarah J. Maas series, because last year I finished Throne of Glass. This year was ACOTAR. So, 5-star series. I did not consider this book 5-star. This book, I think I ended up reading this like 4.25-ish. But the series as a whole, 5-star. Absolutely love the series, with the exception of A Court of Frost and Starlight. I do not like that book. I did not see the point of that book, other than to kind of call out a certain couple of things that happened. I didn't think a full book was needed. So, other than that book, I absolutely love the series. Cannot wait for the next one to come out. I will definitely be reading that as soon as it comes out, because I have to know what the next book is about. I must. So, 5-star, ACOTAR. If you haven't read it, what are you doing? Please read it. It is so amazing. Minus A Court of Frost and Starlight, everything else is great. So, love ACOTAR. So, 5-star series. You should read it if you have not. Wild Love. I loved this book. This is the first book of the Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver. I absolutely love all of Elsie Silver's books. I feel like Elsie Silver's books give the perfect amount of plot, character, like growth, development, spice. They're not super, super long. Like, this book was like 400 pages, like 440 something pages. It's not ridiculous. And I've loved literally every single one of Elsie Silver's books for the most part. Like, they're always really, really, really good. This one was 5-star. I absolutely loved it. I loved the like dynamic between the FMC and the MMC, and just like, because it was boss employee, it was like frenemies to lovers, it was best friend's little sister. It was amazing. Absolutely loved it. 5-star. Elsie Silver, she's always going to be a go-to auto buy. Love it. 5-star. And then we have, this is Binding and Keeping. This is my 5-star series, Binding and Keeping 13. I consider those 2 a series. Granted, it's like the Boys of Tommen series right now is 5 books. But I kind of classify Binding and Keeping 13 as a series, and then you have Saving Redeeming 6 as a series, and you have Taming 7, and I have not read that book, so I really don't know anything about it other than kind of people aren't impressed about it. But we have Taming 7, and I think that's going to be its own different series. But Binding and Keeping 13, this is Johnny and Shannon. This is their love story. Takes place in Ireland. I really enjoyed like the Irish like lingo and things like that. It was just so good. This does have some things that you might need to check triggers on. It was very sad. I cried multiple times in Binding and Keeping 13, and it was just so wonderful. This will definitely be a reread. I think I actually have special editions of this book coming soon. I think, hopefully. I think I made the list for the special editions, but Binding and Keeping 13, absolutely love it. You should read it. It's so good. Love it. And then we have Say You Swear. This is I've never read Megan Brandy before. I have heard this is kind of Wattpad-ish. There were some people who don't like this book, some people who absolutely loved it. This is a kind of a girl who she's always liked her like brother's best friend. It's like their group of friends, essentially. It's a group of friends. The FMC originally, like, she really likes this one guy. Things kind of go wrong, and then they go to college. She meets another guy, and it's their story. And that's all I'm gonna say. This book had a twist in it. It was so emotional. I laughed, I cried, I was devastated, I was excited, I had every emotion. I don't know what it was. So good. I absolutely love it. 5-star, Say You Swear. And then we have the Mindfuck series. This is another, I read this on Kindle Unlimited. It's 5 different books. Not all of the books were 5 stars. Some of them were 4.25, some were 4.75, some were 5. But overall, this is a 5-star series. This is if you've not heard about it, this is another one that if you've not heard about it, where are you? But this is a serial killer FMC, and she ends up dating the FBI agent in charge of her case, but he doesn't know she's a serial killer. He thinks the killer is like a 200-something pound, 6-foot something man, not this little petite girl that he's dating. So good. This actually, I tried to get the new cover because I wanted to buy the physical version after I got the Kindle, but I could not find the physical version anywhere. It was gone. And so I saw that a new cover was being put out, and Amazon had the new cover on its website, and so I ordered it, but it sent me the old cover. So I'm so excited I finally got the old cover, and now I'm going to end up buying the new cover because that's how much I like this book. When I have multiple covers of the same book, you know the book is good. So 5-star, Mindfuck series, should read it on Kindle Unlimited. It's amazing. So those are my 5-star books, the top 5-star books so far of 2024, and now we're going to jump to the 4-star books. And I had 5 of them, like I said. The first book, surprisingly, I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. This was a book that I did not anticipate even being a 4-star, really. And I ended up giving this one 4.75. This is Funny Story by Emily Henry. I am not a very big fan of Emily Henry. I just don't get her writing. It's just never as good as everyone else wants it to be or says that it is. I just don't feel it. But this book I actually really enjoyed. I think it was because I liked the premise. This is the most unique, horrible storyline that you could think of. It's essentially the FMC is engaged. Her fiance leaves her to get engaged to another girl who happens to be the MMC's fiance, who she breaks up with the MMC, and basically the FMC and the MMC's, their exes, get together. And so they decide, the FMC and MMC, they're going to be roommates, and they're going to be fake dating to kind of make them kind of jealous or make them seem like it's not a big deal, like they're not as hurt as they actually are by their exes doing what they did. And it was just, it's their relationship, and it's so good. It is, Nick Miller is essentially who I picture the MMC. Like in the picture, he's got Crocs on, and he reminds me of Nick Miller from New Girl. Emily Henry, Funny Story. This is one of my top 4-star, between 4 and 4.75. This is one of the top ones, so this one. And then we have Saving and Redeeming 6. This is Joey and Aoife's story, and I didn't give this 5-star ratings. Although it was very, very good, I still cried. I still really enjoyed Joey and Aoife's storyline. The first book, this one in particular, Joey's story is basically what happened in Binding and Keeping 13 through Joey's perspective, at least in this first book. And so I felt like I was anticipating, like I was prepping myself for what I knew was going to happen, and I think that took me out of the story. The Redeeming 6 I liked more because what the storyline that happened in Redeeming 6 was not really part of the Binding and Keeping 13 storyline, so it was kind of brand new, and I got more into the story in that book. But Saving 6 I feel not as strongly about, because like I said, it was basically what happened to Shannon, but coming from Joey's perspective and like what he went through in that house. So that's the only reason why it's not a 5-star book. But this was so good. I absolutely love Joey and Aoife. Love their relationship and like all the stuff that Aoife did to help Joey with his struggles and the addiction and the things that he's going through. Like just all of the stuff that she did to be there for him and protect him and do just everything that she did. It was amazing. So Saving 6, Redeeming 6. Love it. Then we have Archer's Voice. This was so good. I knew people love this book. I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy it though. Just the relationship between Archer and Bree was so sweet, and Bree taking the time and realizing that Archer knows sign language, she knows sign language, like she really did what she could to help pull Archer out of his like the dark places that he was. Like he was very secluded, he didn't want, he was very standoffish, he didn't want to be part of the group. He just, because of everything that went on in his life, he was very protective of himself, and Bree saw that and saw everything that Archer could be, and just all the sweet things that she did and all the sweet things that he did, and it was so good. I tabbed it. I probably could have tabbed it more, but I got so involved in the story that I couldn't stop to tab. So, Archer's Voice, loved it. So sweet. Just for the Summer, this is, again, another author. Like Abby Jimenez, you can buy one of her books and you're going to enjoy it. I have not found a book of hers that I did not enjoy. think I now own every one of her books, and I have read every single one of them, and I loved every one. This one is probably one of my top books of hers. This one, again, has a very unique premise. It's essentially the MMC was realizing every time he breaks up with someone, that next person that the person dates is like their soulmate. They get in love, they fall in love, they get married, it's just, the happily ever after. And so it was every single person that Justin breaks up with, they find their true love the very next person they date. And then he put it on Reddit, what do I do? Or what's going on? How do I fix this? Basically venting on Reddit. Emma sees it, and Emma's like, oh my God, that's me. Like, it's literally the same thing, but in reverse. It's Emma with guys. As soon as Emma breaks up with someone, the guy finds his true love, they get married and live happily ever after. So they decide they're going to get together, they're going to meet up, they're going to have 4 dates, a kiss, and a breakup. And once they break up, their curses will negate each other. And the very next person that each of them dates, they're going to fall in love with. Like, their curse is going to, like, cancel each other out. So good. Justin was amazing. Like, the things that he did, like, he sent questionnaires before and after dates to find out what Emma likes for a date, and then at the end of the date, what she liked or disliked, and what he could do going forward to make the next date better. Like, it was just, he was so considerate. It was, chef's kiss, amazing. Loved it. So good. And then the last book that I have in my little 4-star stack. I do not own because I bought it on Kindle Unlimited. I think I do want to buy it eventually. But that is How Does It Feel? This is a new book that I just read last month in May. I did not anticipate liking it as much as I did, but here I am talking about how amazing it is. But it's essentially a girl who falls into a magical fae land through like a ring of mushrooms. She falls into the fae territory, literally lands like Alice in Wonderland tumbling, lands on the prince of the Unseelie court. He thinks, and his kingdom thinks, that she was sent from the human lands to assassinate him because she landed literally on top of him. And she's insisting she did not do this. She fell into this land. She wants to get back to humans. Like, she was not here to kill anybody. He doesn't believe her. The kingdom doesn't believe her. And it's their kind of, animosity. It's enemies to lovers. It's just pining. Or like the banter. It was so good. I'm actually going to be reading the second book of the series this month in July, or in August actually. And I said I was going to hold off and read that closer to the end of the year because the last book, I think, in the series comes out in February, and I can't wait that long. So I need to read it now. So that is going to be read in the month of August because I can't control myself and wait. But that is all of my favorite books so far in 2024. And now we're going to really quickly jump into the books that I'm really excited to read for the second half of 2024. So let's pull up that list now. So I went through Goodreads and just kind of looked at all the new releases that are coming out for the second half of 2024. And I have a list. I have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 books that I'm eyeing. There could be more, but this is just what I initially gut reaction was I have to buy this or I have to read this type list. So we have 7 books that we're going to talk about now that I want to read before the end of the year, or all the new releases for the second half that I want to read. So the first book that I have is Daydream. This is book 3 of the Icebreaker series. I actually have this pre-ordered through Barnes & Noble, so that should be delivered actually fairly soon because I believe it comes out the very beginning of August or very late July, early August, maybe. It comes out in August. I have it pre-ordered. It'll come to me as soon as it gets released. So Daydream has Henry. I think in my most recent video, I thought his name was Ben. Don't know why. Ben was in my head, but it's actually Henry. I met Henry in the Icebreakers book, which is book 1 of the, what is it called? What series is it called? Maple Hills. The Maple Hill series. I call it Icebreaker series, but regardless. But I met Henry in book 1, and Henry was a roommate, and I loved the roommate. I loved him because in Henry's room, in his bathroom, he went ahead, had female supplies for anybody who stayed over at the house that him and his teammates kind of shared. But he had a female box underneath his sink in the bathroom for with tampons and Tylenol and other things that females might need. He just has stocked just because he is that sweet human being that he is. So this is going to be his book. I'm so excited. I cannot wait to read about Henry and his romance and all of that. So I do have that pre-ordered. That will be coming, and I will be reading that pretty much as soon as I get it. So love that. Then we have Wisteria, which is book 3 of Belladonna. I have read Belladonna, and I think I ended up giving that 4.25. It wasn't one of my top 4-star books. It was still really good. It was a story of the FMC in Belladonna. Her name is Signa, and she basically, all of her relatives just die. She has this thing where everybody dies that she comes in contact with. And so she ends up transferring to this gothic mansion, house, whatever you want to call it. And she moves in with this family. And when she gets there, one of the daughter of that family somehow just ends up getting really, really sick. And it's as soon as she got there, this is what happened. And so she's there. She meets death. There's a relationship between Signa and death. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. I actually just received in the month of July the second book of the series. I bought a special edition, I guess, the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition from Barnes & Noble. And so I got Foxglove this month, which is book 2, which I do plan on reading. And so I want to read that so that way I can read Wisteria when it comes out toward, I think, the end, within the next couple of months, Wisteria will come out. So super excited for that. Then we have the rom-commers. So I don't know exactly when this came out. I got this edition because I went to a Catherine Center like meet and greet. And so I got her book when I went to that meet and greet. So I don't honestly know when this was released. Goodreads had it twice as a upcoming new release. I think once was in August, like it was supposed to be released August 1st. And then another time it showed up, I think, in September. So I really don't know when this is supposed to be released. I don't know if this is already out. Regardless, I want to read this toward the second half of the year. This will be a book that I do plan on reading before the end of 2024. I really enjoyed Catherine Center's. I read Hello Stranger just recently. I enjoyed Bodyguard. And this one I think I'm really going to enjoy. The premise of it sounds really interesting. And I've so far liked all of Catherine Center's books. So super excited to read this one. Then we have Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. I have what is it called? I have the first book. It's Just Like the Movies, I think is what it's called. It's a young adult romance, and it was so sweet. It had so many, every chapter had like a movie, like an 80s movie reference, and I love the 80s and I love the 90s. That is my genre, or my era, I should say. Love those like movies and songs and everything about the 80s and 90s. So really enjoyed the first book, and this is Nothing Like the Movies, and I don't really know the premise behind it, but I will be buying it because I've really enjoyed all of Lynn Painter's books, and I believe this is also young adult, so this is another book that I can let my 14-year-old read, which I really enjoy. I like having books that I like and get to her to read and see if she enjoys them as well. So she did like the first book, and so hopefully when this comes out, she'll like that one as well. So then we have Wild Eyes. This is Rose Hill Book 2 by Elsie Silver. Wild Love was my 5-star that I just showed just a little bit ago. This is the second book of the series. Apparently this entire series was going to be single dads, so that's exciting. I love that trope. It's such a good trope. So I'm excited to see what Wild Eyes is going to be like. I do not remember which character that one is going to follow, but it's Elsie Silver. I'm probably going to love it. So can't wait for that one to come out. Then we have Spectacular. So this is a holiday novella for Caraval. Caraval was a trilogy that I did enjoy. It wasn't my favorite Stephanie Garber book, but I really did enjoy it. So I probably went into buying the novella just to see kind of what's going on with the characters, take me back into that world. And so I'm excited to get that. I probably will end up buying it as soon as it comes out, so that way I have the book, because I already have the A Curse for True Love trilogy and I have the Caraval trilogy as well, so I'll probably end up buying the novella just that way I can have the full series. And then the last book that I'm really excited to read about is called Promise Me Not. This one is book 2 of Say You Swear, which is my 5-star book that I just talked about just a little bit ago. And this one apparently is following Peyton, who is a side character that comes in to play in Say You Swear. So I'm excited to get back into that world and potentially see some of those characters all over again. But I am interested to see if, like, what Peyton's story is all about. So I'm excited for that book. And so that is my 2024 check-in, I guess you could call it. I'm so excited, like I said, to see what 2024, the rest of the books that come out in the remaining half of the year, what those books are going to be like. I'm also really excited to see what books I'm going to be reading that are going to be a 5-star, that are going to be some of the books that I'm going to love and think about in the future. So yeah. So with that, Like I said earlier, drop me a comment down below if you'd be interested to see kind of my notion and how I score my books now, starting in July. So I'll be interested. I can definitely film that video if that'd be something that you'd be interested in. But if you have not subscribed, also while you're here, definitely check that little button. Go ahead and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I love seeing my little community grow, and I love to hear from you guys and talk about books, and I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. It would be amazing. So, and with that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see everybody in my next video. Bye.